4 years. So we have to support this. As academicians here in IT, PLN, also students, we have to innovate the way how to increase their income. I'm sure your parents' income here are okay. That's why you still here, who can pay still the the SPP, UKT. But look at your neighbor, yeah, the farmers, only 2-3 millions. We have to consider this as our challenge, okay? As a higher education institution within the electricity and energy ecosystem, ITPLN has an important role to play. We are not only responsible for producing graduates who understand theories. Jangan tahu teori aja, ya. Kita harus bisa prakteknya gimana untuk mengentaskan kemiskinan. We must also prepare graduates who are able to read the direction of the future energy landscape. Okay, geopolitical crises such as the Iran conflict and disruptions around the Strait of Hormuz send us a very clear message. Energy resilience cannot depend solely on external supply. We have to be able to develop our own local capabilities. The people, the land, and other resources. A strong nation is a nation that is able to manage its own resources, develop its own technology, and build an energy system that is resilient, clean, and sustainable. Indonesia is not lacking in resources. No, we are rich land country. We have sunlight, water, geothermal energy, wind, ocean energy, and biomass, bioenergy. Our challenge is how to transform this potential into a real, commercial, economical, and impactful energy system for our society. Therefore, I hope that today's international guest lecture will not only serve as an academic forum, but also as a source of inspiration. May our discussion with Mr. Bao Huang, Dr. Bao Huang, broaden our understanding of how biomass can be developed into bioenergy, how carbon credits can create economic value, how farmers can become part of the energy value chain, and how Indonesia can strengthen its energy independence. To all students, I would like to deliver one important message. The future of Indonesia's energy sector needs a generation that is not only capable of making calculation, but also able to understand problems systematically, a generation that not only understands technology, but also understands economics, the environment, society, and geopolitics. Finally, I would like to express my appreciation to all committee members, speakers, moderators, lecturers, and participants who have supported the organization of this event. Leveraging the richness in biomass for bioenergy, a path forward for Indonesia's green transition and energy independence. May this event bring great benefits to the development of science, energy technology, and Indonesia's energy independence. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Terima kasih kami sampaikan kepada Bapak Dr. Eri Prabowo atas sambutan sekaligus pesan berharga untuk kita. Semoga kegiatan yang akan kita ikuti pada hari ini dapat memberikan manfaat yang besar bagi pengembangan ilmu pengetahuan, khususnya di bidang energi baru dan terbarukan. Hadirin yang kami hormati, kini tibalah saat yang paling dinantikan, yaitu sesi kuliah umum dan pemaparan materi dari para narasumber. Agar sesi ini dapat berlangsung secara interaktif dan terarah, kegiatan akan dipandu oleh moderator kita pada hari ini. Untuk itu, izinkan saya memperkenalkan moderator pada hari ini, yaitu Ibu Lia Nur Oktavia, STMT.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now arrived at the most anticipated part of today's event, the public lecture and presentation session by our distinguished speaker. To guide the session and facilitate an engine discussion, we are honored to have a moderator who is highly competent in her field. Here is a quick overview of Ms. Lia Nur Octavia's background. He is currently an industrial engineering lecturer at Institute Technology PLN. He is highly dedicated to teaching and research with strong expertise in areas like industrial systems analysis, warehouse management, and operation research. And her background, educational master's degree in 2022. He's earned her Master of Industrial Engineering from Universitas Indonesia with an impressive 3.84 GPA. Her research focused on asset management for micro enterprises. And bachelor degree 2018. She got her Bachelor of Industrial Engineering from Universitas Trisakti with a 3.59 GPA, where she actually graduated as one of the top 19 students in her program. We would like to invite Ms. Lia Nur Octavia to come forward and lead the lecture session. The floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lena Octavia. I'm gonna be the moderator for today's event. Thank you for the MC, for the opportunities. With respect, Dean of the Faculty of Energy, Technology and Business, Dr. Eri Prabowo, STMM IPU. And for our special speakers for today, Dr. Bao Hang, and all distinguished lecturers, respected guests, dear students, and all participants. Welcome to today's guest lectures organized by Faculty of Energy, Technology and Business Institute Technology, PLN. Before we begin, I would like to kindly ask everyone to ensure that your mobile phones are set to silent mode to maintain a conducive learning environment throughout these sessions. Today's guest lectures focus on the topic of growing importance not only for Indonesia, but also for the global communities. As we are all know, as our Dean said so before, the world is currently facing significant challenges related to climate change, energy securities, and the transition toward cleaner energy system. And Indonesia, our country, is as one of the world's largest agricultural produce, process abundant biomass resources, including rice straw, palm oil residents, coconut shells, forest waste, and many other forms of organic biomass. These resources present tremendous opportunities in the developed bioenergy solution that can reduce the greenhouse gas emission, support rural economic development, and strengthen national energy resilience. And today, we will explore these opportunities can be transformed into practical and impactful initiatives throughout innovation, collaboration, and sustainable business models. Please join me a warm welcome to Mr. Dr. Bao Hong. Please, Mr. You can come forward. Let's sit down. Okay, maybe we can sit. Before we begin the presentation session, it is my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker for today. Dr. Bao Hong is accomplished scholar, entrepreneur, and sustainability advocate. Dr. Bao Hong is currently served as Assistant Professor of Management at Southern Arkansas University, where he teaches strategic management, international business, and organizational leadership. He earned his PhD in Business Administration from Louisiana Tech University with research focusing on entrepreneurship, economic growth, and innovation ecosystem. Beyond academia, Dr. Bao Hong is the founder and the CEO of the Space ASEAN, an organization dedicated to scaling green technologies, promoting sustainable business practice, and fostering clean, inclusive development across Southeast Asia. His expertise spans cross-border expansion for clean technology ventures, sustainable ecosystem development, innovation, and entrepreneurship. He has published extensively in leading academic journals and has presented his research at numerous international conferences. In addition to his academic achievement, Dr. Bao Hong is actively involved in industry engagement and policy discussions, serving as advisor, mentor, researchers, and invited speaker on topics such as sustainable agriculture, ESG, innovation ecosystem, and international business cooperation. His work bridges the gap between academia, industry, and society, making meaningful contribution to sustainable development both in the US and throughout Southeast Asia. And today, with our special speaker, he will share his insight through a presentation entitled Leveraging the Richness in Biomass for Bioenergy, a Path Toward for Indonesia Green Transition and Energy Independence. We are honored, sir, to have you here, to benefit from your insight and experience. So, Dr. Bao Hong, maybe the floor is yours.
First, thank you very much for your warm welcome. Thank you, Dr. Iri Bababo, for pick me up at my hotel and give me the very great presentation about the Bioenergy IT. And first, thank you for give a very impressive introduction about me, right? Okay, so just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Vietnam. Of course, you see my name is Vietnamese name. So I got my bachelor in Vietnam before I came to the US for my advanced education. So I went to the US for my master and then my PhD in business administration. So after I finished my PhD, in 2021, I stayed there as a professor. Of course, I am business professor, okay? I don't have a PhD in energy or technology. So today I will provide you with, because I'm business professor, so I will provide you with some background on the opportunity and challenges on clean energy, okay? So the opportunity and challenges Indonesia is facing in terms of green transition and energy independence, right? So if you say in the past several years, before the Iran, the the conflict between the U.S. and Iran, So most countries in Southeast Asia, talk about green transition. Okay, what is green transition? Maybe you guys know better than me. Okay, so we did reduce the greenhouse gas emission. Okay, so increase using the clean energy. But in the past several months, okay, since the war happened, suddenly a lot of countries, including Indonesia, talk about the energy independence. Okay, because so just look at the war. Okay, in the past several months, the war, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz have a significant negative impact on Indonesian economy because we import a lot of oil, right? So I think this topic, it just come to the right time for us, all right, especially for you guys and the young generation of this nation. So usually, I have a very positive impression about this country. Okay, the first thing is just look at ASEAN, okay, the Association of Asian Countries. We have 700 million people, right? So Indonesia have around 280. It's just about, this is more 2/5 the population of of this association. So I mean that, we recognize your leadership in this block, and no one doubts about that. All right. So, and then especially recently, the U.S. and Indonesia, relationship gets better and better. So, it's also a very positive signal, And then the U.S. they have quite good resources, new technology in terms of clean and renewable energy, and they also have money to invest in this kind of sector. So hopefully, when the connection between the two nations get better and better, okay, more and more investment flow from the U.S. to this nation, so to improve the clean energy sector. So the first is, because I come from an academic background, so before this deeper into the presentation, to my talk, I want to clarify some terminology. Okay, so let's talk about biomass. Okay, so there are different types of biomass, not just one. The first one is we call agro-industry based biomass. Okay, for example, like the rice husk from the rice mill. It's just one type of agro-industry based biomass, or rice straw or cashew nut shell. Okay, coconut shell and palm oil. Especially Indonesia, you guys very rich in palm oils, have the largest palm oil industry around the world. Okay, so it's a good thing though. Later on, we will go back to this topic later on. So the second one is forestry-based biomass. So we have the wood pellet. Okay, wood pellet. And the next one is livestock manure, cattle, poultry, and squirrel waste. And we also municipal solid waste. Okay, the organic matter from earth and sewage. So recently, I have go back to this one a little bit. Let's talk a little about organic matter from earth. So recently, I worked with a company in Vietnam. Okay, they want to capture the biogas from the milk. It's high in organic matters. So it means that now even the milk also create the values. Okay, so now everything, waste is not waste anymore, like Dr. Eri mentioned. Okay, so waste now is become the value if we have the right technology, the right mindset, and the right investment. Yeah. So in Indonesia per se, okay, I put some number here just for this nation. Okay, so every year you generate more than, I say the word more than, not 34, more than 34 million tons of total palm oil residues. It's a significant amount of biomass. Okay, so if we convert this amount into bioenergy, bioenergy here is in the form of electricity or biogas or biofuel. So if we convert them into bioenergy, it's become a very significant source of energy for the nation. Okay, And so we also have around 90 million tons of rice straws. I know Dr. Ari emphasized rice straw a lot, rice straw and sorghum. We start using, you do some research on sorghum also, rice straw. Because the reason is I focus on a rice straw because, Indonesia is still very big in rice. Okay, so I think it's the largest crops in agriculture. So if we can, for example, like Dr. Ari mentioned that, okay, so in the green transition and energy independent process, we have to count on in terms of improving the life for the farmers. Because the farmer, now, the income very low is across Southeast Asia, not only Indonesia. So in this process, we can involve them, okay? So if we can, for example, like in the past several months, I discussed with my business partner from the US, okay, so he is the founder CEO of Pelican Biogas Group. So he wants to develop a series of rice straw to biogas in Southeast Asia. And we also try to buy the rice straw from the farmers, okay? So instead of burning the rice straw in open field, I'm sure you guys know the negative side of burning rice straw, okay? So it emits a lot of pollutant, a lot of CO2, the greenhouse gases. So contribute to the global warming and climate change, all right? So if we can use rice straw and convert them into biogas, so I know it's easy said than done. We need technology, the right technology and the right investment, but it's doable, okay? So we can provide some income for the farmers, all right? So that's why I mentioned the rice straw here. Please, the next slide, please. Yep. Okay. So here, I did some research on the Indonesia policy framework to embrace the green transition and energy independence. Okay, so Indonesia have established the national energy policy framework. For example, like by 2030, 4 years from now, so Indonesia will have the energy mix of around 19 to 23 renewable energy. So maybe about 20% of them come from wind, solar energy, and also from the biomass, bioenergy. Yeah. And by 2050, okay, so 50% will come from renewable energy. So it's ambitious goal, right? Because given that, this nation need a significant amount of energy to operate to, the economy. Indonesia with a huge population and with a very big economy. So especially, in the next 10 or 20 years, look at the economic growth, okay? If we speak up the economic growth, it's consumer, we need a lot of energy. So this goal is quite ambitious, but it's doable if we have the right, investment and technology. Yeah. And by 2060, this number even bigger, almost 70%. It's a very big number, right? And then how is the national emission reduction target? Okay, the first one is by, 4 years from now, 2030, okay? So the country will reduce 32% of the carbon emission greenhouse gas, okay? But with the help of international assistance, very smart terminal strategy here, okay? So if you guys want me to do more, please help us, provide us with, assistance, investment or whatsoever. With the help of international community, the emission reduction will go to 43%, all right? And later on, I will explain to you how the national energy policy and national emission reduction target have to be involved in the bioenergy, okay? The bioenergy from biomass will play significant, role in this kind of national strategy, all right? So, and here, please move to the next slide. Yep. Okay, so here I do some research on some initiative. Okay, the country Indonesia have been carried out in the past several years. Okay, so in terms of the biofuel, okay, biofuel included biodiesel and bioethanol from palm oil. So you guys have the B50. B50. B50, what does it mean? That, okay, so 50% of them have to come from palm oil mandate. Okay, because Indonesia is the largest palm oil producer in the world. And also, with the Pertamax Green Initiative, okay, they use the ethanol blended fuel. And then biomass co-firing. So this one, Dr. Eri, from the PON Institute, have been doing research on this, okay? Use the sorghum and the co-firing with coal, okay, to generate electricity. So here is an initiative from PON itself. Okay, so, and biogas. And there is some, okay, so I put here the right straw to biogas, especially, I remember last year, okay, there's a publication from ASEAN Foundation and GIC, German, it's the non-profit organization from German, and other international organization. They try to figure out how ASEAN countries can utilize the rice straw, okay, to do quite a lot of stuff, okay? Because the rice straw here, okay, it's good for biogas, but later on I will point to you that, okay, we can extract the silica, from rice straw, and also from rice straw we can extract the biofiber and so on. And manure to biogas, okay, I think that, there's quite a few initiatives in Indonesia, okay, to convert the manure to biogas. And here, the crisis in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz and energy in Indonesia. Okay, so here's how international event, okay, affect the energy in the nation. So you see here the Strait of Hormuz. And luckily, okay, so the US and Iran just ended the peace deal. So it's good for everyone, right? It's a very positive note. And yeah, hopefully, the price of energy here will go down a little bit. But it happened in Vietnam, when it go up, it never go down. So sometimes, when the energy prices go up, but it just go up and then stop there and go up. It's hard to go down, okay? Yeah. This is you guys know that if you pay attention to the political stuff, it's the Strait of Hormuz, all right? And after the war between Israel, the US and Iran, okay, so Iran blocked this strait, okay? So how the crisis in Iran affect the energy in Indonesia? So first, it had a significant negative impact on Indonesian economy. First, the higher prices of oil and gas, okay? Because, the oil and gas, it affect all the sector of economy. If the price on gas go up, all of the transportation go up, the cost of transportation go up, and so on, all right? And the increased public subsidy for fuel, because a lot of countries, okay, the government try to stabilize the price of oil and gas. They have to provide a lot of subsidy. Okay, in some country, okay, like Vietnam and other Southeast Asia country, the government cannot provide subsidy, so it just let the price go up, and and the people have to pay the higher price. Okay, and the weakening rupiah, okay, the currency, and the negative impact of SMEs, okay, SME, especially, so for example, like, like farmer, they use fuel to pump the water to water their crop, include the rice. Now, when the fuel go up, a lot of farmer, I have a conversation with the farmer in the Philippines. They even stop growing rice because of the increasing price of the gas. So, and the weakening economic growth. So you see the crisis in Iran and Strait of Hormuz and energy in Indonesia. Okay, so here the deal. So now we focus on energy independence. So now if we just keep depend on the outside energy, so if a small conflict happen there, so the consequences will go to our home. So the first we have to work very hard for. In the past several years, Indonesia focused on this one, but now we talk more about this one. Okay, but of course they will go together. Okay, energy independence. Please next slide. Yep. Okay, so the first case study, I will provide you what I am involved. Okay, first case study. So I was involved. So first, ASEAN Biogas Initiative. Okay, and we work with the Pelican Biogas Group. This one is the company from US, and we have the meeting, with the friend several times, Dr. Eri. So Dr. Eri, you know him very well. Yeah. So in the study, okay, so we leverage the rich in. Okay, we focus more on the rice straw. Okay, rice straw. So we try to convert rice straw to biogas. Okay, so please move to the next slide. I will want to show. Okay, so here is some information about rice straw in Southeast Asia. Okay, so Southeast Asia is considered one of the world's largest rice production and exporter in the world. Okay, so let me like this. Okay, so Indonesia has the most rice in ASEAN, but because Indonesia want to keep all the rice for domestic consumption. All right, so that's why Indonesia doesn't export rice very much. Yes, so that's why Thailand and Vietnam become the top rice exporter in the world. But in terms of rice production, it's still below Indonesia. Yeah. So according to a current research, 25 metric ton of rice straw is burned yearly across, ASEAN countries. Okay, and the open field burning create a significant impact in terms of environment. All right. So, and the potential use of the rice straw for biogas, for the bioenergy. Okay. So, rice straw have a lot of application. Okay. But in this lecture, I just focus more on the bioenergy side of the rice straw. Yep. Please move to the next slide. Okay, here is what we try to do. Okay, the supply chain from field to plant. Okay, so here the collection baling. So, and we plan to pay to the farmers. Okay, around 20, 40, 50, or 60 US dollar per ton of the rice straw. And then we have to do some pretreatment, and we use anaerobic digestion, the AD system. Okay. Okay, so we might move to the next slide. Yep. Okay, maybe next. Okay, so here is the output. Okay, the product from biogas. Okay, from biogas, we can burn it. Okay, to generate the electricity. Here. Okay, so all from the biogas we can upgrade into RNG, renewable natural gas. So this one is quite very popular in the US. So recently the US they export quite a lot of RNG to Singapore and to Japan. Okay, for what? To power the data center. Yeah, the data center. So for example, like there is a very big data center in Singapore. They need 1 gigawatt, and then even renewable energy like solar energy and wind energy, don't, doesn't have enough power to run, to power the data center. So that's why Singapore have to import RNG from the US, okay, and then burn it, generate electricity to power the very big data center. So the next one is the biomethane. So the biomethane is gonna to become the feedstock for the green hydrogen production. So because you guys, major in engineer, in energy, so you guys know more than me. For example, now, with the current technology to produce the green hydrogen, we have to electrolyze the waters, okay, to obtain the hydro. But then, with the biomethane, okay, biomethane is also become the feedstock. Instead of electrolyze the water, we can use the biomethane for green hydrogen production. And the next one is with the biomethane, we can use them as a feedstock for methanol. Yeah. So biogas, it has a lot of application. All right. So, and then, I see there is significant potential for Indonesia, okay, to go with this path. So we don't need to go with rice straw, okay. With the biogas, we can, we can use different feedstock to make the biogas manure and other one. We don't need to just focus on biogas, rice straw, because rice straw is my initiative. So that's why I just give it as an example. But instead of rice straw, you guys can go with many other feedstock. All right, please go to the next slide. Yeah, and then we do some very basic calculation. Okay, the return on investment of the project. So return on investment from project. Okay, so we assume that, okay, we will burn the biogas to generate electricity. Okay, and we also take into consider the benefit of carbon credit, okay, and also we also because when we put the feedstock into the anaerobic digestion, okay, so at the end we have something like digestate. It can be used as an organic fertilizer, all right, and we calculate everything, okay, and then it's also a very, very good business in terms of return on investment. All right. Please next. Because sorry, I'm business professor, so sometimes, in all initiative, I have to look at how long, the investment will be returned. So now we move to a second initiative. Yeah, the next one. Let's draw. Okay, the next one. Okay, impact initiative. Okay, this one is not very related to bioenergy, but because it's related to the farmers, so I also want to briefly introduce it to you. Okay, so recently we have a initiative across the region we call ASEAN Impact Rice Initiative. Okay, and we partner with a company from the US, Agriculture. Okay, and Agriculture is the one we work with the farmer. Okay, they will take care, they will develop the rice field into the carbon credit project. Okay, and they will bring all the investment to work with the farmer. Okay, and then they will share the benefit from the carbon credit to the farmer. 55% of the carbon credit will go to the farmer. All right. And how about in Indonesia? So in Indonesia, currently we have two location. Okay, two location for the Impact Rice Initiative. The first location is in Lombok. All right, in Lombok, and currently, you know, the local implementation partner over there have recruited around 1,000 hectares already to participate in our project. All right, and the team there is they have been doing very good, and the farmer very supporting the project. Okay, because they will benefit from the carbon credit. The second one is that they we benefit from the premium price. Okay, we also developed a new brand for the rice coming out of this project. We call the low emission rice or climate friendly rice. And we also have a second location in Indonesia is in West Sumatra. Okay, West Sumatra. So after stay here in Jakarta from now until tomorrow I will fly to West Sumatra to meet the local implementation partner over there. Okay, can you move to the next slide? Yeah. Okay, so here is the model I developed for this CARB initiative. Okay, and I will show you how this initiative related to the bioenergy. Okay, so to look at the rice farm. Okay, rice farm. So after we harvest the paddy or rice, in the US they just use the rice. Okay, rice and unmilled rice and rice. So we have unmilled rice, right? And we have the rice straw and the product of the rice farming. We have rice straw here. Okay, so with the rice straw we can do a lot of stuff. We can recycle the rice straw. Okay, and to obtain the biofibers. And we also get the biogas. If we burn the biogas, we have the electricity and the bio oils, and we also extract the silica from rice straw. Okay, I know there is a Japanese company, they're working on that. They try to extract the silica from the rice straw here. Yeah. How about biofuels? Okay, so biofiber. So recently, most of the biodegradable packaging product, okay, is made from the fiber from sugarcane bagasse. Okay, most of them. But recently, some people they say, hey, rice straw also have a lot of fiber, so let's do something with that. Okay, and I know there's a company from EU. They try to extract the biofiber from the rice straw. Okay, so how about how about the husk? Okay, the husk here we also use them to do biochar. Okay, it's a good sort of biochar, and in the process of doing biochar, it will generate the electricity. Okay, and it also generates the carbon credit. So in the biochar production, okay, we also generate the biofuel. So even our initiative, it related to rice, but it also related to the bioenergy here. Yeah, let's move to the next slide. Yeah. All right. So this one is the we call the theory of change, the concept, you know, the concept model of the rice initiative. So maybe this one is not related to biofuel, bioenergy. So just keep this one, please. Yep. Okay, and here is the stakeholder engagement for the ASEAN Impact Rice Initiative in Lombok. Here in Lombok, it happened in February. Okay, in Lombok. Please move to the next one, please. Yep. And this one is for the West Sumatra. Okay, so here is the people attend. Okay, face to face, and here is other people, you know, attended via Zoom. Here is me, you know, and this lady also from the U.S. and the guy also, you know, come from other ASEAN countries. And the next one, the next initiative, we talk about the biochar initiative. Yeah. And here, with the biochar initiative, as I mentioned, okay, so Indonesia have a lot of good biomass, okay, the feedstock like bamboo, cashew nut shell, coconut shell, and palm oil residue, and rice husk, okay. So it's a very good source of to do the biochar. So here, when we produce the biochar, okay, we also produce the syngas, okay, and other bioenergy. So, yeah. And I think, I will stop the, presentation here. And it's time to Q&A, right?
Okay, thank you for Dr. Bauhal for the interesting and insightful presentation. Maybe before we next continue to Q&A session, let me summarize first. Oke, baik, saya akan ringkas sedikit dari presentasi yang sangat menarik tadi. Jadi sebenarnya Indonesia ini memiliki potensi yang sangat besar ya untuk rice straw atau batang padi untuk menjadi biomass atau biogas untuk menjadi energi transisi dan energi ke independence. Karena padi atau beras itu adalah salah satu makanan utama kita ya di Indonesia, dan kita juga salah satu produsen beras terbesar gitu ya selain di Thailand dan Vietnam. Dan ternyata gitu ya batang padi itu bisa menjadi biogas gitu yang sangat besar gitu peluangnya di Indonesia, dan bisa membantu perekonomian gitu, terutama pada petani yang memang penghasilannya bisa dibilang sangat kecil dibandingkan dengan pekerjaan lain. Nah, dari presentasi tadi juga ditunjukkan bagaimana supply chain gitu ya, dari awal bagaimana padi yang belum digiling bisa menjadi output energi gitu ya, menghasilkan listrik, dan juga batang-batang padi yang bisa diubah menjadi biogas untuk menghasilkan listrik. Namun ternyata selain listrik bisa menghasilkan, salah satunya adalah hidrogen hijau. Nah, mungkin baik, sorry Mr. Doghal, maybe we can continue to next session for the Q&A session. For the participant, for the all students, if you have you want to like to ask question, please raise your hand and kindly introduce yourself by stating your name and affiliation before you asking your question. Maybe 3 or how much question? Din, Pak Eri? 3. Oh, 3. Okay, 3 question first. Okay. Just stand up aja. Okay. Maybe any MC help for the microphone? For Sony ya? Okay, for Sony. For our first question.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you very much, Mister, for your insightful presentation. My name is Sony. I'm from Bioenergy student. Okay. From your presentation, I can see biomass have a lot of benefits and great potential in Indonesia. However, I have a question. If a bioenergy project help 1 million of people in Indonesia, but at the same time, biomass energy project harms a lot of people in a small community, if this project is that call of successful project or no? So, and what do you think about Mr. President project plan is develop 20 million hectares of palm oil tree? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question, Miss. Maybe Dr. Bauhal, do you like to answer first or collected the question?
Maybe I will answer.
Oh, baik, directly
question.
answer your question.
Yeah, I will. So first, I just want to summarize your question to make sure I understand correctly before I answer. Okay, so you say that the biomass to energy project will help a lot of people. For example, like 1 million people, but if they also harm a lot of people in disadvantaged group, so whether it's a good or bad project, right? So to me, it's a very good question, and thank you for show your consideration to the poor and disadvantaged people. So usually in the green transition, we also call green transition have to go together with inclusive growth or inclusive development. It have to consider, the benefit of all people. So we will not exclude any group, okay, from to get the benefits from the project. So to me, if the energy project coming from biomass is always have the benefit for the local or the disadvantaged group, because to have to develop the project, we have to obtain the feedstock. Okay, it means that all we have to buy the waste from the people. For example, like if we go with the rice straw, okay, we will buy the rice straw from the farmer. So now rice straw almost have no value. The farmer have to burn it. But then we develop the project. We might pay the farmer. Okay, so the farmer will get extra income from selling the rice straw. So it's good for the farmer, right? And I consider this one is also similar if you use other biomass sources like palm oil residue. Okay, so you got to maybe we have to pay the farmer, okay, the owner of the biomass a amount of money, right? So now waste is not the waste anymore. It's become the value. Yep.
Oke, Sony, apakah pertanyaannya terjawab? Apa ingin ditanyakan kembali? Ya mungkin dari Dr. Bauhau, ini sebenarnya menguntungkan ya untuk petani, karena kan untuk sekarang batang padi itu tidak mempunyai value atau harga karena langsung dibakar. Biasanya kalau kalian jalan di jalan tol gitu ya, mengebul, jadi dia malah membuat polutan. Oke, mungkin ada pertanyaan lanjutan? Oke, baik.
Maybe I can say thanks for the expert, but I'm sorry, Mr. Bauhau. Mohon maaf misalkan bahasa Inggris saya cukup jelek ya. Mungkin bisa diartikan.
I will help you.
Oke.
Okay, I will try to help.
Oke, tadi kan mungkin dijelaskan terkait restros tadi kan. Tapi bagaimana kalau misalkan yang lainnya, proyek energi yang lainnya? Dan tadi kan saya juga bertanya, yaitu bagaimana dengan rencana presiden yang ingin menanam 20 juta hektar untuk energi security. Nah ini kan menjadi pertanyaannya, akhirnya bisa menyelamatkan banyak orang tapi merugikan juga beberapa orang. Nah itu seperti apa?
Okay, Eric, I will help to translate Mr. Sony question. So he asks about the president's mission for the palm oil because it's affected on the ecosystem because open the land, right, Sony? So how from your perspective from that, because from what you said that Indonesia is mostly produce rice, but the president wants to open or have a project about the palm oil.
Yeah. So with I want to obtain more information related to the palm oil project. So the president of the Indonesia want to expand the palm oil plantation. Okay, so in the expansion process, so it's gonna to have the negative impact to the farmer. Is it correct?
Yeah.
So because I'm not very familiar with the context. Okay. So that's why it helped me to answer. Now help me. Now you need to help me out. Okay. So for example, in the process of expanding this project, so how it affect the farmer here in Indonesia? Maybe just educate me, just from my with some background. I want to learn more about it.
Okay, Sony.
So anyone can answer this.
Okay, Jadi Sani mungkin bisa menjawab kalau pertanyaannya. Jadi apa yang sebenarnya menjadi negatif efek gitu ya untuk petani sawit gitu ya, bisa dibilang palm oil di Indonesia kalau dari yang Sony ketahui.
Baik, terima kasih. Dari yang saya ketahui, perluasan 20 juta hektar lahan sawit itu memperburuk ketimpangan penguasaan lahan, memperburuk deforestasi di Indonesia, memicu letupan konflik agraria dan sosial di berbagai daerah, menambah beban berlapis bagi tata kelola di sektor sawit, dan berpotensi adanya tingginya korupsi.
Okay, Dr. Bauhal. So the project is actually make the deforestation for the forest.
Yeah.
So because it's open a new
Okay.
what is called new section for the
Yeah.
palm oil to be to be in the project. Sorry, I'm sorry. And there is a lot of negative like corruptions because it's from the governments. So he said that in negatively. But actually Sony maybe mungkin Pak Made bisa membantu.
Thank you. This is interesting. I try to fuel the discussion with some controversial ideas. Yeah, I try to look it from a different perspective. Looking at the politic of agriculture, especially palm oil. There's some discussion also that Indonesia is doing bad with the environment because of the oil from palm oil is bad. It's taking a lot of land, and then also it consumes a lot of water and so on. But on the other side, we should see also that palm oil generates a lot of employment for farmers, also for Indonesian revenue. Since we are the biggest exporter of CPO, the European countries are mad with that because their production of oil, especially from sunflower, the US also, they are generating corn, especially corn oil. And as we know that corn is also a GMO variety, that they develop a lot of corn seed in Hawaiian Island, in Kauai especially. So especially with with the pioneer groups. So the corn itself is a proprietary plant generated by the US. So they want to sell this one as a product. The contender is the CPO. CPO can generate more oil per hectares compared to any other plants. If you want to get as much as oil, probably you need 10 times larger land compared to CPO. So this is the politics. And the Indonesian side got fueled by the Greenpeace and the others saying that CPO is bad. So please guys, think from Indonesian perspective. You are Indonesian or outsider? This is my fuel for the hotter discussion. Please.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It is a very, very interesting topic. And then just to go back, because it's related to, deforestation. I go back to a little bit about carbon credit a little bit. Okay. So all of the project to be eligible for carbon credit in the VCM voluntary carbon market. Okay. You can, for example, rice, with the rice project, okay. Rice cannot be grown on the land, on the deforested land in the past 10 years. Okay, to be eligible for carbon credit. Okay, so it means that it's according, this one related to the regulation from EU. Okay, so it means that if you deforest, okay, cut the tree, deforest, and then you grow other crop and then apply for carbon credit, it's not eligible. EU say no, it's not eligible. You should have keep original forest there, not cut it. Okay, so it's also the CBAM regulation is involved to this type. Okay, for example, like even I'm not sure whether EU still keep this regulation or not. If you grow coffee or other agriculture product on the deforested land, they don't allow to sell in the EU continent. Okay, and how doing so? They also have technology to observe that land. Okay, don't cheat us. They say don't cheat us. We know, whether you deforest the land in the past or not. So it's just a little bit related to what you say. It not exactly, but it also relate somehow. Yep.
So we have to have our perspective.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions.
Yeah. Okay, maybe Sony, we will continue to next question. Okay. Okay, maybe MC help to pass the microphone to this gentleman.
Thank you, Professor, for the opportunity. Let me introduce myself. My name is Brian. I'm a mechanical engineer student. Mechanical engineer student. So before that, I want to apologize if my English is not good enough.
Your English is good. Okay.
Thank
Be
you.
confident.
Thank you. I want to ask a question regarding Indonesia energy transition targets. As we know, the current national energy mix still heavily dominated by
Fossil?
yeah
Fossil
fossil energy. So I want to ask about your opinion.
Yeah.
So given the current state of the infrastructure, investment and policy to convenient believe biomass can be scalable, or in the future biomass can still remain only small supplement while fossil fuels continue to the backbone for this country. How about your opinion? Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. So let me rephrase your question. Okay, in the future, whether biomass will play a significant role or will replace the fossil fuel, is it what you mean?
I mean, is that true that biomass can replace the fossil fuel?
Yeah. Let me say, to be frankly, biomass cannot 100% replace or renewable energy. Wind energy, solar energy, and biomass, biofuel cannot replace all fossil fuel. I believe that fossil fuel is still there. Okay, but we will reduce the consumption, the use of fossil fuel. Okay, by utilize other energy, including the bioenergy from biomass. We have to go back to the energy economics a little bit. Okay, so for example, up to this point, fossil fuel is still cheap. Okay, and it's very favorable for developing nation. Okay, because developing country like Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, even Thailand, they need a lot of energy to grow its economy. Okay, so if we switch to another energy like solar energy or wind energy, so the energy become more expensive, and when the energy become more expensive, it will slow down the economic growth. And when the economic slow down, it also create a tremendous negative impact on the population. So it means that here we have to strive for the balance, okay, between, okay, we will reduce the amount of fossil fuel, okay, and increase the use of renewable energy, including the biofuel, okay, but to replace 100% the fossil fuel, I quite doubt, yeah, because it's gonna to have the negative impact on the economic development, and if there is a negative impact on the economic growth of a nation, there's a lot of tremendous issue for that countries. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor, for the answer. But so, is biomass being promoted because it's a most effective energy solution, or because it's most politically and economically feasible option available today?
So actually, so let me take Vietnam as an example.
Yeah.
Okay, Vietnam example. So now you know solar energy and wind energy. Okay, it's very popular in Vietnam because of its the location near the ocean, and okay, so it's cheaper to develop solar and wind energy in Vietnam more than biomass. Okay, have to be frank with that. But then the thing is, when we develop a project bioenergy from biomass, okay, even it's more expensive, but also have a lot of people, like for example, like I mentioned to you, you know, buy rice straw from the farmer, or buy other waste from the biomass owner. Okay, so it means that in the strategy return, you know, related to the energy of a nation, we need to have a very comprehensive point of view. Yeah, we have to balance the cost of the benefit of all the group. Just go back to the story of Vietnam. So a couple of years, about 5 years ago, okay, so the government promised that, okay, so we will buy the renewable energy from you with a fixed rate, very good rate, okay. So a lot of foreign international project developers rushed to Vietnam to develop solar and wind energy. So now the nation, now we don't want to go with that way. We want the market will determine the price of the energy. So they say, how? Now if you let the market determine the price of renewable energy, now, you know, because there are a lot of quite surplus renewable energy in Vietnam, the price will go down. So it means it's correct with the promise from the government years ago. So now a lot of developers, they threat to sue the Vietnamese government. So it is also happened to Vietnam in terms of, you know, the energy policy of the nation. But the thing is, just go back to Indonesia. Per the conversation, maybe in the past I have some conversation that also, is this wind energy very popular in this nation or not? Wind and solar energy.
Solar maybe.
Solar. How about wind?
The wind is not,
It's not that
suitable
popular.
for Indonesia because the speed of
Wind.
wind
Of the
is
Okay.
not good enough in
Yeah.
More
Indonesia.
popular solar and waters.
Yeah. So solar good, but not wind. Okay. So here the point. I heard this before. You know. So but be sure that, okay. So for example, like to develop a project in wind energy, it's a little bit cheaper. Okay. But then so now in the Indonesian context, maybe we have to go with either solar and utilize the richness in biomass of your country. Because when we use the biomass of this nation, okay, so you will create a lot of benefits for the disadvantaged group with the farmer. Yeah, so with the farmer. So I know that there is no perfect approach. So we go with the better one, the better one, okay? So there's nothing perfect, okay? So I hope that my lengthy answer just give you some of my perspective. Sometimes I don't directly answer your question. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Oke, tadi Brian ya untuk pertanyaannya mungkin nggak fully menggantikan energi fosil karena dari sisi ekonomi pun kemungkinan kita butuh investasi yang besar dulu untuk mengembangkan energi-energi terbarukan, jadi bisa memperlambat dari sisi ekonomi, jadi akan malah lebih banyak efek negatif gitu ya. Jadi secara bertahap gitu ya kita step by step berubah gitu ya, mentransisikan energi. Oke, baik. Dr. Balhau, maybe for the last question, maybe from dari tadi cowok, jadi sekarang yang cewek ya. Okay, the girl with the white shirt. Okay.
Okay, so before I ask the question, thank you for the opportunity you guys gave me. Let me introduce myself. My name is Crescentia. I used to call Chia. I'm from Bachelor Business Energy class of 2024. I want to ask if Indonesian entire biomass potentially were utilized optimally, what percentage of the country national energy demands could realistically be met? And would that contribution be significant enough to help achieve the net zero emission on 2016? Thank you.
So it's a very interesting question, okay? And I need help, be honest, because we have expert here, okay? I need help because it's related to it deeper into technical knowledge. So be honest with you that it's a very interesting question, but I have no answer for you. So I need help, Dr. Eri. Do you have
Our
need
Dean.
help?
MC, please
Yeah.
pass the microphone to our Dean.
Cia, coba diulang lagi pertanyaannya. Please say that again.
Indonesian or English, sir?
English dong.
Okay. So, if Indonesian entire biomass potential were utilized optimally, what percentage of the country national energy demand could realistically be met? And would that contribution be significant enough to help achieve the net zero emission target by 2016?
Okay, it's a very good question actually. So based on the regulation, we got the instruction from ESDM. Now it's only 5% of biomass to be co-fired with coal. But the realization is only 2%. So this is our problem. Why? Because the sustainability of the biomass supply is not proven yet. We still have big task for another 3% of biomass supply to be coal-fired. So if you graduate from this school, maybe you can start your business doing the biomass to supply to all power plants in Indonesia. We have 52 coal power plants. And you can go back to your kampung halaman and then you can do the mapping of the biomass potential in your kampung halaman, and then you can sell it to PLN. So that's only for 5%. But your question is, how much is the maximum utilization of biomass, right? It can be 100%. Yeah, just like bioethanol, biodiesel. Now the government is going to get or to go to biodiesel 100%. It means that 100% is from palm oil, CPO. And also for ethanol, now it's only E10 to be mixed with fuel, gasoline, becoming E20 and later maybe 50 and then go on to E100. Why not? And also in biomass, now still 2%, going to be 5%. And based on the regulation, 5% is fulfilled, then the target can be increased to 10%, and can be 100% for some types of boilers, not PC. PC, perforized coal boiler, 50-50 is still okay. But in Japan and Korea, their best practice is 30 to 70. 30% biomass, wood pellet, and 70% coal. So we are still at the very beginning stage to increase our biomass mix from 2%, 3%, 5%. When it reaches 5%, I think Energy Council of Republic of Indonesia must modify the regulation going up to 10%. And then when it reaches 10%, going up again to 30%. But it all again depends on the type of technology of the boiler. For CFB boiler, circulating fluidized bed boiler, can be 100% biomass, no worries. For stoker boiler, also 100% biomass, no worries. But pulverized coal, I think 30, 40, 50 we have to be aware of on the point of view of technology. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Ada lagi, silakan.
Is there any questions? Okay. Is it maybe last question? Or no? Okay. Okay, all the question is Dr. Bauham. Oh, 3. Oh, totally 9. Tadi ya. Okay. Miss, maybe MC help to pass to that gentleman.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Gede Arya from Entrepreneurship Major. I wanna ask about the study case before that said about $60 million for each planned investment and $20 million revenue. It sounds great, but one aspect that always underestimate is operational or OPEX. With that aspect, is it bioenergy still economically viable without relying on the carbon credit? Because a lot of project that say good revenues almost from the carbon credit, but the carbon credit is depend to the like the policy or the condition. If it changes, it's gonna be complicated. So is it still economically viable than the other energy sources such as solar or wind? Maybe that's all. Thank you.
So it's exactly the question from entrepreneurship students. Yeah, it's good. It's good because everything is end up because like we discussed before that. Okay, so to achieve the green transition or to achieve the energy independent, we need a lot of good technology and associated investment. If we don't have investment, if we don't have money, nothing happen. Okay, and then because usually in the U.S. most money invest in clean bioenergy is come from private sector. Okay, not the government. And when for the private sector to put money into this project, it have to be economically make sense. Okay, so it means the return on investment is about 4 years or less. If the return on investment is 10 years, no, they are not interested. So at least 5 or 6 years. So it's return on investment. So very good question. And go back to what I showed you some number. So I remember Mr. Fred and me, we sit down to do some very basic calculation. Yeah, and it's not exactly reflect the capex and the apex of the project. Okay, because to have the accurate OPEC and CAPEX, we have to complete the feasibility study, the FS. For example, like if we move forward with a project in Indonesia, okay, we have to spend a couple $100,000 US to work on the feasibility study, okay. So after the FS, everything come out gonna to be almost accurate, okay. All the numbers and all the numbers and so because in the feasibility study we have to work on offtake agreement with the local electricity buyer or biogas buyer, okay, and we will calculate the cost of the feedstock, okay, how much we pay for rice straw per ton, $20, $40. But now basically, the number we put there is just very basic. I call it pre-feasibility study. It's not feasibility study yet. So after the FS, we will come out with more accurate number, and hopefully we will stay in touch. If we done so, I will give you the better number, the more accurate number, so you can, okay, discuss with us more, okay, yeah. And so up to this point, like you say, the go back to the carbon credits. You are very correct about, the policy related to carbon credit is still evolving. It's not set, it's not fixed or set yet. It's very much like in Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, Myanmar, Laos. They're still working on the framework for carbon credits. And the price of the carbon credits is quite volatile, up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay, and you are also correct that most of the project related to clean energy, sometimes it rely a lot on the revenue generated from carbon credit. But basically, based on our model, the majority of the revenue going to come from selling either the biogas, RNG, or electricity. Okay, and the revenue coming from carbon credits and the sale of we call digestate, it's the add-ons, it's the add-on. But as you mentioned, carbon credit is still something very appealing to the investor. Yep.
Oke, baik, apakah pertanyaan terjawab? Ya, mungkin sedikit menjelaskan juga ya tadi apakah visible atau tidak kita tergantung dari life cycle ya sebenarnya ya, kita harus mempertimbangkan life cycle dari misalkan membuat pembangkit atau seperti apa, karena perbedaan sebenarnya antara pembangkit fosil dengan misalkan yang memang energi terbarukan seperti solar, wind gitu. Kalau untuk solar dan wind itu tidak memerlukan biaya bahan bakar karena kan energinya langsung dari surya, angin yang tidak kita beli, berbeda dengan fosil yang memang kita harus beli batu baranya, harus beli minyaknya gitu. Jadi secara revenue sebenarnya lebih menguntungkan untuk yang energi terbarukan, tetapi memang investment di awalnya itu lebih besar untuk yang green energy. Seperti itu. Jadi memang tergantung harus ada perhitungan secara life cycle ya, atau siklus hidup dari si pembangkit yang ingin dibangun seperti itu. Jadi memang harus ada kalkulasi lebih lanjut seperti itu. Oke, ada pertanyaan lanjutan? Oke.
Okay, thank you for the answer before. May I conclude the answer before? The most single important factors that make bioenergy projects from all bioenergy project that you observe internationally, feasibility study is one of aspect that make the project successful, or the other aspect.
Yep. So usually, let me talk a little bit about the process to develop a project. Okay, so usually, we come out with an idea. Okay, let's do the dry straw to biogas plant. It's the idea first, and then we do some pre-feasibility study. It means that we don't, we do, we got the desk research. Okay, so do it by ourselves. So do some. Talk to the people, gather some information, very basic, they call pre-feasibility study. After doing so, we say, oh, it's not feasible to move the project forward. We stop, okay? And then after this stage, we say, oh, the economic makes sense. So we will spend more money to do the real feasibility study. So in this stage, we will send the crew, the expert, the engineer to the site to talk, Usually if the project developer in the US, they will send 2 or 3 engineering, go to Indonesia to talk to local experts like Dr. Iri, okay? And maybe work with Dr. Iri to do feasibility study, okay? And work with the buyer, okay, the electricity buyer, PON or someone else, okay? So to achieve the offtake agreement for the output of the project. So it's we call the feasibility study. Okay, and then after feasibility study, we'll come out with all of the number, okay? So how much it costs for this project? Not 60 million, but it's around 55 million 830,000 or something, okay? And then usually, when we come out with this number, it's the total investment, and then the OPEC, okay, the expenditure for operating, every year it costs about 10 million, right? So when we have all this number, then we use them to call for investor, okay? So and then we bring all of this kind of study, okay? We go to talk to investors, say, hey, I have the project in Indonesia, okay? So we need the investment, and then the investment fund, they will look at this kind of number, okay? They look at the feasibility study. I say, oh, it's great. So I will need to give you, okay, this amount of money. And when you get the money, then you start develop the full scale project. It's the process of develop a project, from the idea generation to the first full scale development. And the thing is, let's go back to your point, okay? The significant part of the bioenergy is, okay, because a nation, they own the feedstock for bioenergy. They don't depend, they don't buy the feedstock from other nation. You know what I mean? Because here we talk about the energy independent. So a country, they can use whatever they have to convert them into energy. Okay, so for example, like in Indonesia, for example, now Indonesia have to import a lot of fossil fuel from other country, including, I don't know, not Iran, but Middle East country, okay? So is it in other words, Indonesia are depending on other country for energy. So now, why Indonesia own a lot of biomass, okay? So when if Indonesia can convert a part of this biomass, what they own into the energy to replace a part of fossil fuel. So it's close to the energy independent. So it means that the own of the biomass is the most significant part of the bioenergy. Yep. The ownership.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bauha, for the explanation. Is there clear for the question? Okay, thank you for your question. Maybe there's anyone to other participant to have. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. Let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Nabil Syala Simitala. My question is related to one of the more complex operational challenges in the bioenergy sector. As we all are aware, agriculture output is inherently tied to seasonal cycles, climate variability, and unpredictable environmental conditions, which can significantly affect the availability and quality of biomass feedstocks throughout the year. The inconsistency can pose serious risk to the operational continuity of bioenergy facilities, potentially affect. From your professional experience, what strategies and technologies or management system have proven as most effective in managing and mitigating the supply chain inconsistencies? And thank you, Dr. Robert.
It's a very good question. Yes, I agree that because when we talk about bioenergy, it's related to biomass, right? Biomass is related to agriculture. Agriculture crop is seasonal. A lot of most of them are seasonal. Okay, so for example, like we go back to rice straw. So for example, in some maybe in some region in Indonesia, farmer grow 3 times per year, but some region 2 times, some region they have grow just 1 time per year. All right. So for example, like let's put the most convenient location, where the farmer grow 3 times per year. So that's why there's still some money gap. There's no rice straw. Okay. So we got to develop a strategy to deal with this kind of the gap. Okay. So in the past we have been discussing about bale them. Okay. But dry the rice straw. Okay. Make it dry. To reduce the moisture content and bale them and put them in the starch. It's just one solution, and because the rice straw is light, so we need a lot of space. It's also the big issue, right? So yeah, it's one strategy that we have to develop a very spacious big storage system to store the rice straw. If we go with other option, like for example, like we to reduce the seasonality of the feedstock, we can go with other type of feedstock like manure, like cow, right? I remember the professor also mentioned, in some places in Indonesia, they have 10,000 of cow and they use the cow to make the biogas. It's also the good strategy because we don't need it. We get the manure almost daily, not seasonality, right? We also go with the manure of cow pig and other cattle, and also maybe sorghum. Can we use sorghum every day? Of course, it's not seasonal, right? Sorghum is also a good candidate for biogas. Yeah, I know because the reason is we talk a lot about rice straw because it's abundant. It's abundant in Indonesia and other ASEAN country. Okay, the second thing is because it's abundant, the farmer just burn them a lot. Okay, just with open field burn them. So even there is a couple of just last year in 2025, I mentioned to you before that GIZ, a German organization, and ASEAN Foundation, they have really comprehensive research on how to utilize the rice straw in ASEAN country to create the value from the rice straw. And one of them is to make the bioenergy. So that's why this story has come into my mind again and again and again. But you are correct, seasonality is created huge issue, when doing the biogas. And the other thing I want to add that I also mentioned to you, about biochar production. So recently, a couple of days ago, before I came to Indonesia, I visit Mekong Delta, in Vietnam to talk to 2 rice mill because I want to I want to get the rice husk from them to make the biochar. And we also talking about the seasonality of rice husk because so after the harvest season, okay, so the rice mill it have to run almost all day, so because they have a lot of rice. But after the harvest season, okay, then there's almost no more rice, okay, so there's no herd, so they have to develop such strategy that they have to even store the paddy, store the rice, or store the husk. So yeah. So it means I want to prove the point that you are correct that seasonality will create a very big issue in the bioenergy production. Yep.
Okay.
Oke, mungkin bantu menjelaskan ya dari pertanyaannya, karena berasal dari padi mungkin ya, jadi kan musiman, kadang kita pikir 3 bulan sekali atau 6 bulan sekali, tergantung dari jenis padinya. Salah satu strateginya adalah storage atau penyimpanan. Namun kelemahannya karena padinya itu secara massa juga ringan, jadi butuh luas storage atau gudangnya itu yang luas, atau alternatif selanjutnya adalah menggunakan biomass lainnya tadi seperti kotoran sapi gitu ya, atau kotoran ternak, atau tadi pakai sorghum seperti itu. Atau mungkin itu adalah salah satu strategi yang bisa digunakan seperti itu. Baik, maybe there's any other question from the participant? If there's no other question, maybe there will be our last question. Oh, okay, for Mr. Made. Okay.
Thank you. I'm not gonna ask, but this is my observation, Pak, regarding the green energy. We should see as a, I don't know, this is my opinion, that green energy is an emerging technology. So we can say that. Because we are so pampered with fossil fuels. And then so we are enjoying energy at a low cost, because fossil fuel is a major kind of technology. It's cheap, it's abundant, everybody knows about that. There are so many experts in that field. But in terms of renewable energy, green energy is kind of a new things. So people are still investing in that kind of field. Especially in biomass, we should see also that what is the main target of using biomass? Is it for us to eat? Rice is meant for staples. It's for us to get the food from it. The leftovers is the one that we will utilize. Compared to, for instance, a different type of biomass. Let's say a jatropha. Jatropha is kind of food, a plant that cannot be eaten because of it's poisonous, it's thorny, and so on. So if we plant that thing, it's meant for energy. So all these kind of things requires a lot of, like I said, investment and also know-how. And also, like the students mentioned, that it depends on the season. Now the technology about planting rice, it can be done, disregard the season. People are putting rice field in a greenhouse that can be harvested anytime using less water, but requires more investment. So all these things is a new things. If we are talking about feasible or not at this time using the current technology, probably we are comparing cows and chicken. It's not comparable. Yeah. In the near future, 10 years, probably it's comparable. Right? Looking at the solar panels, for instance. 10 years ago, so expensive. Now, it's much cheaper. And I know that Vietnam is way more advanced than Indonesia in comparing the amount of solar panels that generates energy. Indonesia is the rock bottom in ASEAN. So embarrassing. Vietnam is the top leader now. I noticed that one from ASEAN discussion about energy, and looking at the amount of solar panel that you installed there. But the next question is not stop there. what is the next step after that? It's a quantum leap. 30 years from now, how to handle the waste of it. That's another story again. So this kind of technology, we are still in an embryo of generating energy, and some of them already talking about how to manage the waste of that a new emerging technology. So don't worry, students, there are a lot of opportunities to see in the future. That is the thing. That is my comment.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, thank you for Mr. Made for the comments, and thank you for Dr. Bauhau for the explanation and answering the question from the students. And maybe that will be our last question for today. And as we come to the end of today's guest lecture, allow me to briefly summarize some of the key takeaway from our discussion. And in today's presentation, highlighted that Indonesia possesses one of the richest biomass resource in the world, offering tremendous potential for renewable energy development through technologies such as biogas production, biomass co-firing, biochar production, and renewable natural gas. Biomass can become a strategic solution to support Indonesia's green transition while strengthening national energy independence. We also learned that the sustainable biomass initiative can generate multiple benefits beyond energy production, including reducing greenhouse gas emissions, creating employment opportunities, increasing farmers' incomes, improving environment quality, and supporting the development of circular and bio-based economy. This insight reminds us that achieving a sustainable future requires collaboration among government, industries, researchers, educational institutions, and local communities. Innovation alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by a strong partnership and collective commitment. On behalf of Institute LGPLN, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Bauhau for sharing his valuable knowledge, experience, and vision with us today in these guest lectures. Give us another round of applause for our distinguished speaker. Thank you for coming in here. And thank you for all the participants for your active participation and enthusiasm throughout the session. We hope today's discussion has provided a valuable insight and inspirational for your academic, professional, and research endeavor. Maybe with that, I will return to the MC for continue the next session. Thank you for your attention. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hadirin yang kami hormati, demikianlah sesi kuliah umum dan diskusi telah kita ikuti bersama. Atas nama panitia dan seluruh peserta, kami menyampaikan apresiasi dan terima kasih yang sebesar-besarnya kepada para narasumber atas ilmu, wawasan, pengalaman, serta inspirasi yang telah dibagikan kepada kita semua pada hari ini. Ucapan terima kasih juga kami sampaikan kepada moderator yang telah memandu jalannya diskusi dengan sangat baik. Semoga berbagai gagasan dan pemikiran yang telah disampaikan dapat menjadi bekal berharga bagi kita dalam mendukung pengembangan energi berkelanjutan di Indonesia.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the lecture and discussion session. On behalf of the organizing committee and all participants, we would like to express our deepest appreciation and gratitude to our distinguished speakers for sharing valuable knowledge, insights, experience, and inspiration with us today. Our sincere thanks also go to the moderator for leading the discussion so professionally and effectively. May the ideas and perspectives shared during this session become valuable contribution to our collective efforts in supporting sustainable energy development in Indonesia and beyond.
Sebagai bentuk penghargaan apresiasi dan ungkapan terima kasih atas kontribusi yang telah diberikan. Acara selanjutnya adalah penandatanganan berkas kerjasama antara pembicara dan dekan FTBE yang kemudian dilanjutkan dengan penyerahan plakat kepada narasumber.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is the signing ceremony of the cooperation agreement between our distinguished speaker and the Dean of FTBE, followed by presentation of a commemorative plaque as a token of appreciation.
Kepada Bapak Dr. Eri Prabowo, STMM IPU, dan Bapak Bauhong, PhD untuk maju ke depan. Penyerahan plakat dari Pak Dekan ke narasumber.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to our distinguished speaker.
Sebelum acara kita tutup, mari kita sesi foto bersama dulu.
Satu, dua, tiga. Oke, ganti gaya. Satu, dua, tiga. Gaya ITPLN.
Hadirin yang kami hormati, tidak terasa kita telah berada di penghujung acara. Dengan selesainya sesi pemberian plakat, maka berakhir pula seluruh rangkaian kegiatan Kuliah Umum Internasional FTBE ITPLN pada hari ini. Kami mengucapkan terima kasih yang sebesar-besarnya kepada pimpinan Institut Teknologi PLN, para narasumber, moderator, dosen, mahasiswa, serta seluruh peserta yang telah berpartisipasi dan menyukseskan kegiatan ini. Semoga ilmu dan wawasan yang diperoleh dapat memberikan manfaat serta menjadi inspirasi dalam mendukung terwujudnya masa depan energi Indonesia yang lebih berkelanjutan, mandiri, dan berdaya saing global. Atas nama panitia, kami mohon maaf apabila terdapat kekurangan maupun hal-hal yang kurang berkenan selama acara berlangsung.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the end of today's international public lecture organized by the Faculty of Energy Technology and Business, Institut Teknologi PLN. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the leadership of Institut Teknologi PLN, our distinguished speaker, moderator, lecturers, students, and all participants who have contributed to the success of this event. We hope that the knowledge and insights gained today will serve as inspiration and motivation for all of us to contribute to a more sustainable, independent, and globally competitive energy future for Indonesia. We also sincerely apologize for any shortcomings or inconvenience that may have occurred during the event.
Sebelum kami akhiri, izinkan kami menyampaikan sebuah pantun. Mentari pagi bersinar terang, menyapa bumi dengan cahaya. Mari bersama melangkah dan berjuang mewujudkan energi berkelanjutan untuk Indonesia Jaya. Baik, saya Naila Nursyifa pamit undur diri.
Dan saya Sarah Nadia pamit undur diri.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.